All right, welcome to the meeting for February 13th, 2024, Township of Springfield, County of Union, State of New Jersey. Regular session. Call to order. Notice this meeting is being held in accordance with the public laws of 1975, Chapter 231, and adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by a notice sent to the Star Ledger, the local source, and posted in the main lobby of the municipal building and the township website. David here? No, David. Okay, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance led by Deputy Mayor Howard Slaufer.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence for our soldiers overseas and at home. Thank you. Roll call.
Mayor Weber,
Here.
Deputy Mayor Laufer,
Present.
Committeeman Capides,
Here.
Committeeman Huber, Committeeman Kaiser.
Present.
All right, so we only have a few proclamations and announcements. Number one, the Springfield residents ages 55 and older calendar for recreation is out right now. Looking at it, it is a full calendar. It is fantastic. Pick one up. You can get it online, or you can pick it up at the Chisholm Community Center. We're having coffee with a cop. February 28th, from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. at Halo Roasters, 228 Mountain Avenue, sponsored by the Springfield Police Department. Stop by, ask a question, get a cup of coffee. Very informative session for anybody who has some questions about the daily operations of the police department. This is the morning event. I know there's also an evening event at times with pizza with police. We are witty with our stuff. All right, so this is the morning one of Coffee of a Cop. So stop on by. All municipal offices are closed on Monday, February 19th for President's Day. Then we have the Egg Hunt and Kite Fest, Saturday, March 23rd. Rain date is March 24th, from 2 to 4 p.m. at Chisholm Park. Register for the event announcements on Community Pass at register.communitypass.net/Springfield. Now, if there is any public comment on agenda items only, please step up, talk into the mic, and we will hear what you have to say. Public comment on agenda items only. Mayor Fernandez.
Fernandez, 393 Hillside Avenue. Will you be having on the ordinance, will there be time for the public to speak on that second reading?
Yes.
Yes.
I'll save it for then.
All right, seeing,
Had 2 bites at the apple. Never mind.
we got anybody else?
2 bites at the apple.
We have no other public comments, so that was pretty quick.
Are we doing the calling?
We were gonna cancel the calls. We did not get any voicemail, we did not get any emails. You wanna do calls?
Yeah,
All right, we'll do the
right
calls
here.
then. I just gotta dig up the phone number again.
Laser focus.
Give me 1 second, let me dig up the phone number.
It is 973-912-2200. 973-912.
That's not it.
I'm just reading the thing on the screen.
All right, hang on, I'll get it.
Is it 444? The fact that you know the fax machine number. 4442?
All right, 973-232-4442. 973-232-4442. Now, this might be the last meeting that we'll take some calls. It didn't work out too well last time. We've got a little bit of a problem with people not being able to hear the answers of the questions they're asking because the TVs are turned down.
But we do have an email out.
The calls are not censored. There were some issues. We do have an email option, though, and the email now is called questions, with an S at the end, at springfield-nj.us. Questions at springfield-nj.us. Now, if you get those questions in before this meeting, or before any, I'm sorry, not this meeting, before the next meeting happens, we will read the questions here and give you your answers. One more time, it's questions with an S at the end at springfield-nj.us. Phone number 973-232-4442.
Mr. Mayor, while we're waiting for the phone call, may I make a comment?
Absolutely.
And announcements?
Would love that.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would just like to just take a moment to commend our DPW crews for their first, handling the first snowfall of the season. We had 24 plows out there, 5 salt spreaders, a full load of calcium for the sidewalks, road salt, and we had a full crew. No one was off. And I just have to commend Mr. Betcher and all of our drivers. We always recommend that they take it slow, take breaks, and driving through town, I was off today, I saw no issues today, everything was clear, everything was great. I did not receive any phone calls, I did not see any comments.
I didn't get any.
I didn't see any comments on social media about any issues, so I would like to commend the DPW crew. And also, if you don't know already, we tried to make it as abundantly clear as we could through all of our means of communication, but there was no recycling today, and the recycling, if you normally get today, it's rescheduled for Thursday, the 15th. So there was no recycling today, it'll be Thursday, the 15th. Thank you.
I just want to say, also, I left my house at about 5 o'clock this morning, and they were out. I know they were doing sidewalks this morning right around Town Hall, so I mean, you can't say anything, they were shoveling it then, so,
They do a first-rate job all the time.
yeah, no,
All right.
no falls.
No phone calls, that's it, we're done with that, and there's no questions that were emailed to us either. Let's move on to reports with our administrative report with our BA, John Basicolo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A couple of things I'd like to just let everyone know. Our new jitney has arrived. It needs to be lettered accordingly, and then we will get that on the road shortly. The biggest thing I wanted to bring up tonight was New Jersey American Water contacted us the other day. Mike Disco, myself, and Robert Betcher sat in on a Zoom meeting with them. They've been mandated by the state that all lead water lines have to be replaced by 2031. What that means is that they're going to do a couple of things. They have a contractor called CDM Smith that is going to go around door to door and come into your place, if you allow them, to check the water line and see if it's lead. It's either lead or galvanized. It's got to be replaced. If you don't want someone coming in, you could take a picture, upload it to a website that they're going to give us a link. You'll be able to send it to them. They can identify it generally from the picture to determine if it's lead or not. And then the last thing, if you do miss them, there's going to be a number and you can call them in order to schedule an appointment when it's convenient for you. And they will notify us in PD before they come out so that we will put a robocall out and let people know what street they're going to be on what day. They're never going to ask for any money, and they will be photo IDs on them. They'll be wearing high visibility vests that'll say CDM logo on their vest, so you will know who they are. The biggest point out of this that I want to make sure everyone understands, there's no cost to this. It would be highly recommended that you take advantage of this because once it passes, I don't know at some point, will the homeowner become responsible to replace the lead line if it is lead? I wouldn't take the chance. Just let them do it, get it done. It's free. It's not a big deal, and it'll save you aggravation down the road. We will post all of this on the website. I'll ask Tamara tomorrow, to put this on the website if anybody would like to read the finer points. Couple of other things, DPW, we, working on storm drainage project on Kane Street. We had to replace 480 feet of a 36-inch corrugated pipe that had rotted out. We're replacing that with, high-density polyethylene plastic pipe. We added several new inlets. We upgraded the sanitary sewer on Colonial and the sanitary sewer on Baltusrol. We had some yards flooding on the intersection of Possum Pass and Briar Hill Circle. It was revealed that there was damage to a storm sewer easement pipe that's causing the problem. We're in the process of replacing 100 feet of 24-inch pipe there with a new precast head wall. We went over the storm that we had today. And a couple other things. We've got a meeting tomorrow with the developer for Scotty's, so I'll keep you informed after we sit down and speak to him. On our Gomes project, we had our first meeting with the new construction manager that the court has appointed. He's kind of took, all of our comments from both sides. He's reviewing all the drawings. We got another meeting set up for, I think it's March 5th. I'm going off the top of my head. I think it's March 5th. He'll be back in, and he's going to report directly to the court. So it's going to stop, hopefully, us from running down there too many times. We do have a meeting actually with Gomes tomorrow. They have to move some electrical, and that does not meet what the plan was. So Mike Disco and I are going to meet with them tomorrow. We have to really see if it's something that we can take care of, or does he need to go back to the planning board and get a variance to be able to move those. So we will let you know what happens there. They are making progress, I think, as everybody's seen. They are moving along. We're still not as far as any of us would like, but they are actually working, it seems like, every day and getting some stuff done. So other than that, we're pretty pleased with that. New Jersey American Water was working on the line over on Patriots Way down at the end of Church Mall. So that project will start moving along very shortly. Just trying to think if we've got anything else. The Saks property is up and running. We've already had people in there, and I think all of their COs on the properties that are finished have been issued. So we're in good shape at the Metropolitan, that is called. If there's any other questions or comments, I'd be happy to answer. Yes?
Yeah, just for the public to know, and I only discovered this when they started doing this about 2 years ago. I think they did it in front of my house. PSE&G has been going around the town to inspect their utility poles for the integrity of the utility poles. So sometimes you might come home in front of your house, you have a utility pole there, and there might be some dirt disturbed around the pole, and all they're doing is just checking the integrity. They do that on a regular basis.
That's not PSE&G, though. It's the electric company, JCP now.
JCP&L, excuse me, thank you for the clarification.
No problem.
JCP&L, they're just checking the integrity of the poles, so there's nothing really to worry about. It's standard operating procedure, and again, they did that for me about 2 years ago when it.
And speaking of PSE&G, I know, Mayor, you had a question. There was a gas line that was hit yesterday, I think it was. What happened there, just so everybody knows, is that we had the markouts done. Our contractor started digging, hit a 5-inch gas line. PSE&G came back out, and all of a sudden, the markings were somewhere else. So they marked it, and I believe they marked it incorrectly, and that's why we hit the gas line. So we've got a meeting with them on Thursday. But we did call out and got markouts done. It had nothing to do with our contractor or the township, just so everyone knows.
Okay, I do want to add one thing to your, to the American Water, because I got something in my mail a month or two ago.
Yes, thank
I
you.
just did a sample of my pipe. I went downstairs, and they're either lead, they're copper, or they're galvanized. And the flyer that they send in there is very clear on how to identify if you have lead, copper, or galvanized. I have copper, luckily, going in. But take a look at that. It's probably on their website also on how to determine what kind of pipe you have going into your house, if it's lead, copper, or galvanized.
Thank you for bringing that up, because they are going to do another mailing, so I would urge the residents, don't throw it in garbage, please. I mean, it looks like, a typical flyer that you get, and if you throw it away, again, I just don't want to see anybody end up with costs they can avoid.
No.
Let's take advantage of this while they're doing it. The state may mandate they've got to do it past 2031. I don't know, but I wouldn't take the chance.
Excellent.
So thank you for bringing that up.
All right, minutes and reports.
Mr. Mayor, I would like to make a motion to approve the regular and executive minutes of October 10th, October 24th, November 8th, and November 21st, 2023, as well as special meeting and executive minutes for October's 30th and November 29th as emailed.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And now we're going to move on to new business and ordinances on a second reading.
Second reading for ordinance 2024-01. This ordinance amends the existing ordinances governing certain employment positions and establishes salary ranges and compensation levels for such positions within the Township of Springfield.
Mr. Mayor, I would like to make a motion to approve ordinance 2024-01 with publication in the local source, February 22nd, 2024.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All right, so we're gonna do a public hearing. Let's try to do the phone calls first. If anybody has any public comment on this, the number is 973-232-4442, 973-232-4442. I'm gonna give it a 30-second delay on this. If there isn't any phone calls on it, we'll let it go, we'll take the phone off, and then we'll go to public comment on anybody in there, so it doesn't disrupt anybody else. Nine seven three 232-4442. Exciting. All right, can you take it off, just in case somebody calls up?
Sure.
All right. Public comment, anybody? Hello.
It's on, or do you need it on, or?
It should be.
No, I think the only note we got is just to
Yeah, just speak
closer,
into it.
Yeah,
So we can get, can you lift it up?
yeah,
Barry Fernandez, 393 Hillside Avenue. Just a couple of questions. The assistant administrator position that's here, is that the same position that was there when, was that the position Mary Ellen held before?
yes.
I thought it was my understanding that that position was there for her purpose at that time, and that was going to be eliminated. Was it ever eliminated, or am I wrong?
No one's filled the position. It's
It's eliminated
eliminated.
last time. Was
I don't
crossed
know.
off.
But I don't know if we took it off the,
No, it was not, it was not eliminated.
Crossed
understanding was that it was eliminated, and then,
No, I think we're just leaving it on there, but it's not being filled.
why leave it on there?
Why get extra money billed to the lawyer to take it off it right now?
I mean, no, I don't think it was on the last one. That's why
I think the rationale is very simple. If any position needs to be filled by the township committee, ultimately, if we were to take it out and then at some point want to reinstate it, it would cost the town additional money, once again, to have the ordinance rewritten and have to be introduced twice. That costs us legal fees, that costs us posting fees, for a position that was thoughtfully thought out many months ago, or over months ago. Years ago. And then ultimately not filled. So I don't think it makes sense that when we update an ordinance to make it stronger, to make it better, why we would then eliminate it for a council or township committee down the line who may want to restore it. That's just my opinion.
I don't think we added it.
had it for years. The only reason I bring this up is it's a position that we never really had for years, and I won't debate with any of you whether we really need it or not as an assistant with a town our size. So to feed off what you're saying, at some point, you paid an attorney to make an ordinance, which, let's be honest, what's the cost for an attorney to make an ordinance in 2 readings? You could find many ways to save money. No, let me finish, please. The thing is, it was a position that we didn't have, and we can debate whether you need it or not. Once you have that position established, now you're talking about a pension, you're talking about healthcare, you're talking about a lot of other costs, much more, things that cost a lot more than having an attorney write up the ordinance. This ordinance, if I'm not mistaken, you have it done every couple of years. Am I mistaken in saying that? The last time, I think, was 2 years ago?
Give or take.
Yeah. So is the idea that let's do it once and not have to do it for many years later?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, well then, why would some salaries go up as much as 40,000 and some go up as little as 5 or no change at all? If you don't plan on doing this ordinance again for an extended period of time, why did you think that some salaries, and I'm not debating the cost of the salary, I'm debating why make it so big and wait so long to change it? Why not do it the way you've been doing it, where you can adjust it? And then you have some people not going up at all, which are some key positions in town.
I'm looking at the list right now, and I don't see anybody that's,
Municipal clerk would only go up $5,000 over the period of time. Last time was 150.
municipal has it,
You went up 5,000 from the last time, 150
All right.
to 120 for max.
the salary ordinance here has it from 80 to 120.
Right, and you had it in the previous one, 80 to 115, so you
Okay.
only went up $5,000. But where on the township administrator was 120 to 160 in the past, now you're going 120 to 200. So you have a large increase there. And if that's because, look, we don't plan on doing this for a while, well, the increase on the other one's only 5,000, and if you look, I think there was 1 or 2 that there was no increase at all.
Okay? Yeah.
So I guess my question is why some are so large and some none at all?
If I may.
Go ahead.
I would just say, A, that these are just ranges. I mean, I'm speaking for me, we're not hiring anybody at $200,000 for a business administrator. We have one here right now. Luckily,
Here for another 50 years.
correct. But,
If he was gone,
but that's-
if you were to leave next week and you had to hire a new one, these are the ranges you're in.
And Mr. Fernandez, as per the ordinance, you're absolutely right. One thing I would also say is, there are positions on this that we may need for flexibility, as Committeeman Kaiser said. That's A. And B, and the related costs, such as pension and healthcare, only come into effect if that position is occupied. Right now, for instance, and we do not have an assistant administrator, we have an assistant to the administrator, which is also here. So we've taken the time in this ordinance to look at trends about who's gotten hired and where and how much, and this is what the work product is.
How do these compare? Have you done comparisons to other towns?
Yes.
Hold on, I want to add something on that, since we're on the township administrator. I don't know how long it's been since you've looked for an administrator. Pound for pound, this is the best value that you have in Union County right now. You can't find it you are debating it, because when you come in here and you try to pick this thing apart, it's insulting to everybody that works here. Just be mindful of it.
That's not my intention, and that's not my intention. I'm looking at positions on here, and again, I'm not disputing what they should get. I'm just disputing the method that you're using to get there.
Then fight with me when I give them 200,000, fight with us when we do that.
No, Mayor, again, it's the fact that in the past practice has been to look at this every couple of years and adjust it accordingly. There has never been that I know of, such a large increase at one time.
Because we got tired of paying the lawyers for it.
Hold on, it's not an increase. It's a range.
In the range. Let me rephrase that. Increase in the range.
Yeah, but you were here also, on the committee, when we appointed an assistant administrator, am I correct?
No, you're wrong. What we did was an assistant to the administrator. Different position.
Excuse me, assistant
There was
to,
an
yeah, you
assistant,
know.
what you in essence would be doing is an assistant BA.
and I said,
There were restrictions on
Oh.
the assistant to the BA, not get a pension.
All right, I'm gonna ask this to move on, because if you got another question, go ahead, because you got 3 minutes.
Don't I have an opportunity to answer him after he asked me that question? So there were 2 different positions there. Also, the the purchasing agent that was on the last one, what exactly, who was doing that in the past and who will be doing that now?
Our QPA
Yeah.
is our CFO.
And that was in the past outsourced for, what was, I think it was only a few thousand.
No, what did we pay? We had a girl in Mountainside we were paying.
I think it was 2,000. Oh, no, 4,000 to, the range was 4 to 10,000, and now I think she was getting 2,000 if I'm not mistaken. What would the range be now?
That position, just for the record, that position was. That was through a shared services agreement. That was, I don't think that individual was an employee.
No,
And they wouldn't have been,
like you mentioned.
and they wouldn't have been subject to the salary ordinance.
So where, I didn't see that now, that's why I was questioning, what would that range be for that position?
If, first, but,
Between $4,000 and $20,000.
Correct. We did, between
Still there.
4 and 20.
Oh, maybe I just missed that. Between 4 and 20 now?
Correct.
So that's my question is, so, you know, in essence, it's not to pay the attorney to do an ordinance, but ordinances always pop up. That's the least expense that we can, I mean, there's other expenses of phone calls. You can call 20 times less and save money. But, you know, just the fact that you're doing this, the range increases just seem very large. Obviously, we're all, you know, trying to, and again, I know it's not the salary, and I'm not disputing that it shouldn't get there at some point, but instead of doing it once now and say, hey, we're not going to look at this for another 8 years, let's look at it again in 2 years and make it less in case something happens where, again, John, I hope you're here for 30 years or another position that has such a large increase, but if they were to leave, someone coming in sees this range so high and, you know, it's going to affect our taxes.
Yeah, but you always, and you know.
Hold up.
Not a
That's,
fixed tax.
always
can I,
give
can
the
I,
person-
can I take a minute?
But also, this, whatever, whoever we hire, the salary comes commensurate with experience and ultimately has to be approved by the township committee. This,
Here's an example.
this
It's
is-
not
this is just-
assessor, there's no increase at all. in the
well,
range.
but what I'm saying is that regardless of what these numbers are, the final salary is commensurate with experience and must be approved by the township committee. So just because something says $200,000 does not mean somebody has the right to come in here carte blanche, to your point before, and said, oh, look, I can get $200,000 for being the township administrator. I'm going to fight for that, or I'm going to work for that, because that's just not going to be the case.
Just a minute. As somebody that has worked with Committeeman Capides to do 2 searches in our time up here in 6 years, we have run into the problem where I believe it was both administrator and CFO, where potential applicants looked at the range and were either discouraged or said, no, I'm up against where I'm already making it in town X. It doesn't make sense for me to go through with that interview. There is no way that, there's a range for a reason, right? There's people that have experience and there's people that don't, that are starting out, and that's what the range is for. I don't know if you've done hiring in your past, but I have, and applicants at certain times come with different experience like Chris. And from my experience up here, and I think I speak for everyone here, we've gone through it before, where applicants were up against that range for various positions. This gives us the flexibility to take action at the time being. An ordinance takes up to 3-4 weeks because it has to be introduced one meeting gets off, and then there's second reading. So when you're going in a hiring process, and in the current field that we are in, right, with the current labor market that it is, people want assurances, right? Ordinances can fail and things like that. So when you're already up against that range, that potential applicant seeing this job or another job, and he or she has to wait maybe 4 weeks to ultimately see a change in that final pay scale, I think that makes a huge difference. So part of it is, hey, yes, not going back to the drawing board every year when we have to do raises, but the other point is giving us the flexibility in the future years that we aren't up against a crunch if somebody does leave and we have a good applicant that wants to come to town.
that, if I may.
I think your 5 minutes is up, but that's the
I
mayor's
was pretty good with
prerogative.
you. You got like 15 minutes up here.
Earlier, but again, because you addressed something, it would only take me 1 second, please. Two things. One is the tax assessor position, for example, has no increase. That's the range.
Oh, wait, hold up. We went through and we did the analysis. And compared to the other towns in Union County, our analysis showed that our current range was inadequate with the other, compared to the other towns.
I'm not debating that, but again, if you don't plan on doing this for X amount of years, how did you pick the positions that should have that large increase?
If I could just,
And then I'm gonna-
This is the last comment on it.
And you're saying, look, you've obviously hired people over the course of the years that we've been doing it the way most communities do this. Every couple of years, they'll up it. There's no need to do such a large increase to wait so many years. You've hired people over the course of many years. The township has hired. This isn't gonna change anything. I disagree with you on your last statement. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on.
I would welcome anybody to come fight with us when those salaries are given. Let's move on.
Yep.
Any other questions?
we need a roll call.
Roll call, please.
Deputy Mayor Laufer,
Yes.
Committeeman Kaiser,
Yes.
Committeeman Capides,
Yes.
Committeeman Huber,
Yes.
Mayor Weber.
Yes.
Okay, we have first reading on ordinance 2024-02. This ordinance amends Chapter 2, Administration of the Township Code, to add provisions related to the property tax exemption available to qualifying disabled vets and eligible surviving spouses.
Motion?
I'll make a motion to adopt ordinance 2024-02 as read by Madam Clerk, with publication in the local source on February 22nd, 2024, with a final hearing scheduled for March 12th, 2024.
Second.
Discussion?
No.
All good?
Yeah.
It's deserving. Mandatory.
Committeeman Kaiser?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Laufer?
Yes.
Committeeman Capides?
Yes.
Committeeman Huber?
Yes.
Mayor Weber.
Yes.
Ordinance 2024-03, this bond ordinance is to authorize the making of various public improvements and the acquisition of new, additional, or replacement equipment and machinery, and a new automotive vehicle, including original apparatus and equipment in, by, and for the township, to appropriate the sum of $2,384,000 to pay the costs thereof, to make a down payment, to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation, and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bond.
I'll make a motion to adopt ordinance 2024-03 as read by Madam Clerk, with publication in the local source on February 15th, 2024, with a final hearing scheduled for February 27th, 2024.
Second.
Mr. Mayor, just a few minutes to discuss, just to talk about this, because this is an important part and an important aspect of our budget season and ultimately what we do every year up here. So this $2.3 million bond ordinance, and of course, Diane and John, please jump in if I misspeak. But this does not mean that we authorize this we are authorizing us to go and get this $2.3 million. It does not mean that we will ultimately spend it. Various times we've held on to money in bond and have used it at later points in time. But right now, our plan for this $2.3 million is going to allow us to invest in our township and further our goals at the most cost-effective and prioritizing the biggest capital needs or the most urgent capital needs projects. And this includes undertaking road improvements throughout the town, which saves us from going out to bid and contract with an independent contractor. So it's various roads that we continue to maintain and upkeep. It's helping make necessary repairs to our buildings. whether that's a roof and Chisholm that I think we've done previously, whether it's HVAC equipment in this building to ensure that we're upkeeping our public buildings, not letting them fall into disrepair, and burdening a future township committee and township that would have to undertake those repairs. So our DPW department has a schedule that he's maintaining, and appropriating some funds will allow him to continue maintaining that schedule. It's also undertaking some security protocols. We have a court that's here. We're going, this money will hopefully go to purchase updated security cameras to make sure our building is constantly monitored, a metal detector to ensure that people coming to this building are safe, and protecting our employees and protecting our courts. It's public safety equipment that you wouldn't think that our first responders and our fire department would need, but ultimately in the world we live in now, they need ballistics equipment. Because if, God forbid, and hopefully it never happens, but if there is a shooter on one of our campuses or throughout our towns, our fire and first responders go to the scene along with our cops, and they have to be protected so that they can respond and keep the public safe. It's making those investments in body cameras for our police and auxiliary police to protect them and the citizens. It's making improvements and helping us get new equipment for DPW to enter into agreements with neighboring towns to share the cost of new equipment to clean our sewers and maintain our sewers so that there's not overflows in the past. We have a current piece of equipment that's 22 years old that we're still operating. Well, this bond ordinance will help us phase out that old equipment, bring in a new one so we can continue to maintain our sewers, keeping our street sweepers quick so that we are new, so that they can keep our clean streets and take care of our leaf collection. That's all that this bond money is ultimately going to do. And that just helps us just reinvest in our town, in our equipment, so we're not having to do it all at once, but we're doing it piecemeal, year by year, taking the most prudent position, but continuing to invest. Because if we didn't make that investment year after year, I think in 10, 15, 20 years, we would be in an issue. So, thank you to all the department heads that started this process, along with Diane, John, and myself late last year with Rich, but then now ultimately Harris. And we've certainly come to what I think is a pretty fiscally sound bond ordinance for this year, and I'm proud to have worked on it.
Thank you. One thing I think you missed, and maybe I missed it, the sewer jet vacuum is being shared with Milburn?
We're trying to
Sure.
share that piece with
Ryan.
Yes.
Yeah, so,
I didn't hammer that home, yes, thank you.
yeah, that's, we are trying to share costs with whatever town we can on something like this, where we're not using a sewer jet vacuum 24 hours a day. Milburn has agreed to go in partners with us on a 50-50, I guess.
Yep.
So, when you look at all of this stuff, as Committeeman Kaiser said, you have $1 million that's on curb, road, sidewalk, drainage. This is all reinvestment back into the town. Buildings, metal detectors, sewer jets, vacuums, street sweepers, all stuff that is used over and over.
Basic function of government.
Yes.
Vital infrastructure.
And I will tell you this, I can guarantee that if we didn't have a street sweeper that worked, boy, the people would be mad about that. So I'm just happy that we are sharing certain things with Milburn, though. So thank you. Roll call.
Okay. Committeeman Kaiser?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Laufer?
Yes.
Committeeman Kapidis?
Yes.
Committeeman Huber?
Yes.
Mayor Weber?
Yes.
Ordinance 2022-04. This ordinance amends provisions in Chapter 4 of the Township Code to modify the regulations applicable to the Springfield Farmers Market.
I would like to make a motion of ordinance 2024-04 for publication in the local source on February 22nd, 2024, with final hearing on March 12th, 2024.
Second.
Discussion.
Discussions.
Somebody just run through,
Yeah,
just real quick to give everybody, because I know we get questions on the farmer's market.
Maureen.
Changes the dates and times.
Yeah, basically, this ordinance modernizes our existing ordinance relating to the farmer's market. This reflects what is actually happening now, the timing, the dates, and also the location. And it also makes it clear that if in a given year something needs to be modified or tinkered with, it can be done by way of resolution of the governing body. Yep, that's it.
Roll call.
Deputy Mayor Laufer.
Yes.
Committeeman Kaiser. Committeeman Capides.
Yes.
Committeeman Huber. Mayor Weber.
yes. All right, on to resolutions with approval by consent agenda. If anybody wants anything pulled, please pull it while we're reading them. Resolution 2024-58, 2024-59, 2024-60, 2024-61, 2024-62, 2024-63, 2024-64, 2024-65, 2024-66, and 2024-67.
I will make a motion to adopt the following resolutions by consent agenda. Resolution 2024-58 through Resolution 2024-67.
Second.
Committeeman Kaiser.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Laufer.
Yes.
Committeeman Capides.
Yes.
Committeeman Huber. Mayor Weber.
Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I would like to approve a request from the Congregation of Israel for use of Irwin Park for their annual picnic on Sunday, May 26th, from 3 to 7 p.m., and their hold harmless and COI are attached.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I would also like to request the approval from Shabbat Jewish Learning Center to use Chisholm Community Center for their annual Purim event on Sunday, March 4th, from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m., hold harmless attached, and the COI forthcoming.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. It is called Chabad, for everybody up here. Chabad.
I've also made that
No, that's why it's for everybody up here.
Thank you, and obviously I mean no disrespect.
No, I know.
Thank you. And finally, I would like to approve a request from Troy Hills of the Springfield Condo Association to hold a community meeting at Chisholm Community Center on Tuesday, March 5th, from 5 to 10 p.m. Hold harmless attached, COI forthcoming.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, finance, let's go and pay some bills.
I will make a motion to pay the payroll and invoices for the period of January 24th, 2024 through February 13th, 2024, in the amount of $2,382,331.28.
Second.
Committeeman Kaiser.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Laufer.
Yes.
Committeeman Capides.
Yes.
Committeeman Huber. Yes. Mayor Weber.
Yes. All right, we'll move on to correspondence. I'm going to save the top one for last, because I know a bunch of people have something to say on that one. Union County Surrogate Christopher Hudak, services provided by his office, JCP&L, public hearing, February 29th, 4:30 to 5:30. For more info, called 609-913-6241 or email board.secretary@bpu.nj.gov. New Jersey American Water, public hearing, February 28th, 4:30, 5:30. Visit company website for details. And the last one on correspondence.
Just wait, one quick question before that. Can we just put, because I've gotten that question before and it's come up, can we just post the surrogate letter or the info on our website website or social media, just because I know people have asked about that
And
stuff.
and he goes around to all the
Yeah.
communities and
Yes.
does very important seminars, especially for senior groups and religious institutions. It's actually a great community program that Surrogate Hudak provides.
All right. So I'm going to read this letter as it's written. I just had this gentleman at my house the other day, and here's the letter. In early 1978, Mayor Bill Seary told me that the committee of residents that ran the July 4th fireworks was retiring and asked me to take it over until he could find someone else to run it. Well, 46 years later, the time has come for me to step aside from that responsibility. Family responsibilities, including the expected birth of our 4th grandchild on July 1st, very likely means that I will not even be in Springfield on the 4th. It has been a pleasure to have helped make the 4th of July celebration what it is today, and I hope it continues to be one of the best in Union County for many years to come. Best regards, John Cottage. Boy, 6 years ago, I met him. Alex and I met him. We got taken into a trailer, which was a really interesting situation. It was different, but for the short time that I've known him, because I don't know him anywhere in the time that like Rich knows him.
You were a few years.
Yeah, I got 6 years under my belt with him, and he's a solid dude. He's like really a good guy, and this kind of makes me sad because, when you get involved with certain things, and I am the first one to admit this, you're always in a rush to try to change certain things, or you're in a, you think that maybe things can be better or something can happen, and you don't appreciate who is doing all of the work immediately. Sometimes it takes a year, 2 years, 3 years to see what they go through to make something happen. And that is the case with me and the fireworks and John Cottage and Scott Seidel and everybody that's involved in making the 4th of July happen. So, thank you. If you ever want to come back, we will welcome you back gladly.
I think we should also point out that 46 years is probably the longest temp assignment anybody's ever had.
Yeah.
So, kudos to him.
Rich, Chris?
I'll go last.
Okay.
It's funny, whenever I see him on the 4th of July, he will tell us, or tell me that story, and remind me of that story every time I see him. You want to talk about a testament to the community of Springfield. You want to talk about volunteerism. You want to talk about someone who's given his heart and his soul to this community, still coming back, still traveling up to see. Because it's just, and the 4th of July is just a snippet. It's a drop in the bucket for all that he's done for this community and continues to do for this community. I don't think by any stretch of the imagination, by him stepping aside from this 4th of July fireworks, that he is done volunteering and serving and visiting his community. Well, first of all, I hope he still continues to visit this community because I believe his family still lives here. But I can't say enough about this man. He has a heart of gold, and I'm sure they will miss his time on this committee, but we won't, it's not the last time we'll see him, and as always, every time I see him from here on out, I always shake his hand, give him a hug, and the ends of our conversations have always been and will continue to be, thank you for everything that you continue to do for this community.
Actually, the first time I met him was when I was campaigning. I went to a taste of Springfield, and I was walking around, and I said, "You're John Cottage." He's like, "Who are you?" But it serves to, hey, how many people know who John Cottage is? Maybe a few people in this room, right? The vast majority of Springfield probably doesn't know him one way or the other. And that's not a bad thing or a good thing, that's just the facts of life. But for 46 years, if anybody's attended a 4th of July celebration in 46 years, that's partly because of John Cottage. It's very likely that 46 years ago, when no one was really jumping at the bit to organize the 4th of July fireworks, it could have easily gone away, right? No one might have stepped up and no one might have taken it on. And for the last 46 years, maybe Springfield wouldn't have been one of the communities in Union County to hold a fireworks celebration. So for anybody who's attended fireworks, well, that's the legacy of John Cottage, and it's the legacy of a lot of people. So thank you certainly for his time. No one's going to ever be able to thank him enough for the time that he's put in here, but hopefully anybody who attends the future fireworks celebration, that's thanks enough, because that's a legacy that'll long outlive a lot of us. So, thank you, John.
I've known John a long time. He's always been involved with everything. Loved the bubblegum company. Loved that group. I mean, I used to tell him, let's get another group. He said,
1910 Fruit Gum.
yeah, Fruit Company. He always got them. But John is one of the people that talked me into coming up here. John is always, if I asked him any questions, he always had a question for me. He and his associate Scott were always involved with everything. I remember when floods hit this town, they were always there. John has given his life to this town.
Yeah.
I'll always be thankful that he's my friend. The dinners at Baltusrol had to be, I think he chose the dessert all the time. It had to be a chocolate, whatever it is, souffle or something like that, but he always was there. But I want to wish him the best of luck, him and his family. I know I'll see John, and I could be walking down the street, and I could hear him say something to me. He'll be yelling, and he'll always come over and say hello. But he has a friendly face, and always will be.
Well, we're not done with him yet.
Yeah, he
because-
didn't die.
And
He didn't die.
I know. And let me tell you, as much as I go in New York, he goes more back and forth to Vermont to here. I think he's, but good luck, John, and I know I'll see you.
We're going to try to get him here. We had ordered something for John that wasn't, finished in time. So we'll hopefully be able to do this again. We'll help get him over here and get what we want to give him in the next few meetings. All right, so that is the end of correspondence. Now we're going to go to public comment on any government issue. So let's do the phone thing again first.
Let's fix the phone.
973-232-4442. That's 973-232-4442. We'll give it 30 seconds on a delay, and then what'll happen is we'll disconnect the phone so it doesn't disrupt the calls, the questions that are happening here. 973-232-4442. Public comment on any governmental issue.
Bated breath over here. All right.
Perfect, yep. All right, no, that's it, Tim.
Yep, it's just
All right, now,
me.
public comment on any governmental issue from anybody in the audience, come on up. We're gonna try this a little differently. If you could ask your questions first to get them out of the way, and that way we don't go into like a back and forth.
You get all your time.
Yeah, I don't wanna take your time.
All right. The stipend for the purchasing agent, when I asked that before, I'm not sure just wondering what that is now, if you could tell me that. Current pilot programs right now, we know which ones we have that are active right now. I think only one, if I'm not mistaken. Wondering how much we get from that pilot program and where those funds go. I believe the general fund, but I'm not sure. And I just want to be clear on this next part. I'm not speaking for the board. As a board member, I want to be very clear. I'm not speaking for the board in any capacity, but I'm speaking as Jerry Fernandez, you know. But being on both boards, I would hope, and I would love to be able to have, or that we could come together in another joint meeting as we used to do in the past. I think in the past, they were done because they had to be done, because the governor made us do it, but I think it would be beneficial if we could work together. And as a person that sat on both boards, I could tell you, I really think it would help the residents of Springfield. Let's face it, the tax bills come from both boards pretty much. And there may be a way that we can work together to help in that avenue. Also, with all the redevelopment going on, and most of it being on one side of town, there will be an impact to the way the schools are going to be affected. Obviously, the pilot program does not give the Board of Ed any tax dollars. I know in the past there was discussions about maybe giving, and I know some towns do that. I would hope that maybe we can work together to see how these programs work, maybe, and again, I don't even know if this can be done legally or not, just throwing it out there, but perhaps once these programs are done, based on how many students are in each development, maybe there's a way that some of their costs could be covered, so we're not increasing the taxes tremendously on the residents of Springfield, that maybe there's a way we can work together on that to help offset some of that cost. Safety issues with the schools. Rich, I know that there were some things that in the past that you were very active on. Again, I'm not speaking for the board. I don't have that authority. I just want to be clear once again. But I think those are issues that maybe we can all work together and come up with something that would benefit the community and the town. We've always, you know, Rich, and I bring you up just because I was on with you a lot on the committee. You've been on there way too long, buddy. But in a good way. You have done, and I don't mean that in a bad way, you've done great things for the town, and I have nothing but respect. I just think, you know, when you're on there, the board used to say, oh, we're our separate entity, and this is separate, you know, board. I think it would be a big benefit if we could.
Well, as far as the programs are concerned, I'm sorry, Mayor.
No, we're gonna, yeah, once he's done, we'll just chew away the questions. Hold on, let me just go in order real quick. Stipend purchasing agent,
4 to 20.
No,
Oh, the current.
My current salary, it's a salary, not a stipend, it's
6,200. Pilot programs that are active right now.
There are SACs came on board this year, that we're anticipating over $1 million for. There's some smaller, older pilots that the county, I believe the county does not get any money on, which is twilight pilots. They're not really, I could kind of give, tomorrow.
Any other ones, Charlie, I don't know if
Charlie, that's a minimal by the time it came out, with the tax, the land, what pays on the land versus what the deal was negotiated. So his, it's in there.
Okay.
Not much.
Yeah, can I make one comment, and then just one comment, and I'll leave it there, if it's all right. That's something I think you need to look at, because some of these smaller programs, like Charlie, for example, that range, I'm not sure what it is. I'm very curious to see what it could be. If it could range from 50,000 for 24 units, 60,000, 80,000, you know, for 24 units. I think on the smaller programs, on the smaller pilot, on the smaller projects, say, that are coming down the pike, you know, perhaps a pilot program isn't the best program on there for the community to get their money. Because it doesn't seem like, and that's why I brought it up, that project in particular, I don't think is after they pay for their land. I know you don't, I didn't expect you to have that number now. Yeah, that's fine, and I apologize. I probably should have emailed earlier, but I didn't plan on speaking on this. I'm sorry.
All right.
And it's no.
You did great.
No, it's not on you.
great.
You can email me, I'll email you.
And the last one is,
But that's something I think you should look at. You know, a certain number, it doesn't, you know, if we're only getting 60,000 on that after what he pays for the land use, it's not gonna make much sense, and I don't know what you're gonna give the board out of that.
All right.
But, just to throw that.
all right, thank you. Board of Ed questions. Go ahead.
Board of Education, and you were up here when we did that. Before any project was built, when we got the print, not the administration now, the old administration over at the Board of Education, we sat down with them, Matt and Mike, and we went over everything, and they knew exactly what was coming down the pike. And they agreed everything would be okay. I know we have to give them something, you know, for the education of the children.
I don't think we do.
We don't, but that board, the Township Committee at that time agreed.
Yeah.
And I would fight for that, for the kids. I'd always fight for the kids, for everything. But, I mean, before anything was built, we always went to the Board of Education. You know, I wouldn't not go to them. I mean, I sat down in the cafeteria, I took a day off from work just to go over everything with them. So,
Okay.
you know.
All right.
I,
We're done. All right, thank you, guys. Any other public comment? All right. Seeing none. Motion to move into executive session?
just,
No motion. All right, then,
No exec.
thank you for attending the township meeting. Motion to adjourn?
motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.